सभी को नमस्ते। और आज की इस कोर्स इंफॉर्मेशन सेमिनार नंबर 1 जो अद्वैत इंस्टीट्यूट के द्वारा आयोजित की गई है, इस सेमिनार में आप सभी का स्वागत है। वी वेलकम एवरीबॉडी एंड विथ एन ऑस्पिशियस चांट ऑफ श्री गणेशाय नमः इन योर ओन हार्ट्स एंड माइंड्स, लेट्स मेक अ बिगिनिंग। आज के सेशन को वी कैन कंसिडर डिवाइडेड इनटू 3 पार्ट्स। पहले सेक्शन में हम अद्वैत इंस्टीट्यूट के विषय में थोड़ा और जानने का प्रयास करेंगे। वी विल dig slightly deeper into Addwit Institute. It has a nearly 10-year long timeline, but of course we will not get into detail. The second section is more important. That is what today's session is organized for, introducing 3 courses which are being launched today. 3 courses जो आज हम लॉन्च कर रहे हैं उसके बारे में थोड़ी इंफॉर्मेशन शेयर करेंगे। और तीसरे सेक्शन में जिसको क्लोजिंग कहा जा सकता है, जिसमें आपके रिएक्शंस और आपके प्रश्न को भी इंक्लूड करेंगे। उस समय फोरम ओपन रहेगा। और जिन्होंने ज्वाइन कर लिया है सबका एक बार फिर से स्वागत है। अद्वैत इंस्टीट्यूट के विषय में जो चर्चाएं हैं, लाइक द वे वी वुड लाइक टू इंट्रोड्यूस अद्वैत इंस्टीट्यूट, इट हैज मल्टीपल डायमेंशंस, और उन मल्टीपल डायमेंशंस में एक बहुत ही इंपॉर्टेंट डायमेंशन जो है वो आपकी स्क्रीन पर इस समय दिख रहा है। बीइंग यूनिक टेक्स वर्क। अद्वैत शब्द को एक प्रकार से हमने थोड़ा सा एक्स्ट्रापोलेट करके अद्वितीय से डेवलप किया है। अद्वितीय का अर्थ होता है जिसकी डुप्लीकेट ना बनाई जा सके, अर्थात जो अपने आप में यूनिक है, अपने आप में अद्वितीय है। तो अद्वैत में अद्वितीयता के अनेक आयाम है। देयर आर मल्टीपल डायमेंशंस ऑफ यूनिकनेस in Addwit, this particular name that it signifies. Or among all those factors which make us unique, one of them is that our institute provides solutions for certain problems, and we identify the problems as well as we develop the solutions based on academic and social research. But at the same time, when we are developing solution and taking it to the market or to the users, before that we ensure that it qualifies the test of ancient knowledge system. Ancient knowledge system अर्थात पौराणिक, परंपरागत जिसको कहा जा सकता है, ऐसे नॉलेज सिस्टम के लेंस से वो क्वालिफाई करती है या नहीं करती। और यहां पर मैंने सेकंड पैराग्राफ में लिखा है कि वी in place of Indian knowledge system, IKS, which is very prevalent and very concurrent glossary and terminology these days, both in academics as well as in corporates. Even governance के अंदर नेशनल NEP जो है नेशनल एजुकेशन पॉलिसी, उसके अंदर भी NEP में भी IKS का एक इंडिकेशन दिया गया है, उसको रिकमेंड किया गया है कि IKS के फ्रेमवर्क के विद इन चलाया जाए। तो हम अद्वैत इंस्टीट्यूट में IKS वर्ड के स्थान पर AKS शब्द का उपयोग करना अधिक उचित समझते हैं, क्योंकि इंडिया जिस रूप में आज हम जानते हैं, इंडिया, मैं अंडरलाइन करके बोलूंगा इंडिया, क्योंकि इंडियन नॉलेज सिस्टम बोलने से इंडिया हो जाता है। तो इंडियन नॉलेज सिस्टम जब हम बोलते हैं तो जिस भारत के छवि के साथ हम आरंभ करते हैं, एंशियंट नॉलेज सिस्टम जब व्यवहार में था या जब उसका विकास हुआ, उस समय का भारतवर्ष था, और उसका जो स्पैन ऑफ एग्जिस्टेंस था, उसका जो फैलाव था, वो आज के भारत से बहुत बहुत बड़ा था। और मतलब आज के परिभाषाओं से यदि चला जाए, if you go by the definitions of today, then on one side up to Thailand and Myanmar, and the other side maybe up to Iran, I mean it was all under भारतवर्ष। हालांकि एक सामान्य व्यक्ति के लिए, बिजी प्रोफेशनल के लिए, उसको कैसे सरल बनाना है, वो काम हम अद्वैत फ्रेमवर्क के थ्रू करते हैं, अद्वैत इंस्टीट्यूट के प्रोग्राम्स के थ्रू करते हैं। तो जो भी हम प्रॉब्लम्स आइडेंटिफाई करते हैं उसके पीछे भी एक रिसर्च है, और जो सोल्यूशन डेवलप करते हैं उसके पीछे रिसर्च भी है और वैलिडेशन भी है। तो इस प्रकार से एक कंप्लीटनेस है अद्वित के पूरे अप्रोच में, और इसलिए ये अपने आप में बहुत ही यूनिक है। राइट, ऑफ कोर्स इसके विषय में और भी हम अलग अलग छोटे छोटे डिस्कशंस में बात कर सकते हैं, किंतु मैं इनवाइट करूंगा 1 मिनट के लिए दीप्ति जी को, जिनका स्वयं का और उनके परिवार में उनके हर ओन सन is studying in Gurukul, you know. So I'll invite Dipti ji to say a few words about Bharatiya Gyan Parampara. Dipti ji, please.
Namaste. I'm able to unmute myself. So I did that. Yeah. So Bharatiya Jnana Parampara, as I call it, Indian knowledge systems or ancient knowledge systems, the words might be many, but ultimately it is something that inspired me. And I did not send my son to a regular so-called convent or a English or a CBSE or ICSE curriculum school, because when we talk about Bharatiya Jnana Parampara, we talk about knowledge that is all pervading. We are talking about sciences that are just beyond the physical sciences. It is about understanding a human being inside out. It is understanding the microcosm. It is understanding the microcosm. It is macro and micro, I mean. And it is also about living a life that is complete, living a life that is fulfilling, living a life that is meant for contribution, right? So that was a reason why I selected this particular way of educating my son, a Jnana Parampara that comes from the rishis of our country. And as Arvindji was mentioning, right, how ancient. We don't know how ancient, you know. So my son is learning the song of Mahabharat, you know, as part of their quarter today. And in the song, they say, it is older than the truth itself. This knowledge system is older than the truth itself. So it's that old and it continues to exist. That means it is so powerful. It can exist for so long only because it is that flexible. It is that applicable for every generation, and hence Sanatana Dharma, as we call it, right? It will never go. It is universal. It always exists. And I think we are fools if we are trying to look at other knowledge systems and think that they are better or they are going to make bigger difference. Or when I study a lot of subjects, when I study and talk to a lot of people, more and more I have this faith and belief that, oh, this already is existing within our knowledge systems. So I come back to that reality. So that's my need for knowledge systems today, to bring that back into practice. I think it's only in the last 200-300 years that we have lost touch.
Absolutely. You have hit the nail on the, I mean, as they call it, basically, the kind of distortion we see in not only education, but also, the education owns entire ecosystem. It owns economics, it owns policy making, it owns, the narrative, it owns the media, it owns the, politics. So, the kind of deformation that we are seeing, like you said, last 200-300 years only, it's like in one of the other sessions we talk about the triad coming together: colonization, capitalism, and industrialization. So we'll talk about that in some other session. Definitely, it is. I agree that it is a deformation which has taken place only in last 300 to 400 years, 17th century onwards. French Revolution, Industrial Revolution, colonization, capitalism, banking system, money losing its, the basal value, and so on and so forth. So taking our discussions forward, you got that we are at the intersection of modern academic approach to learning and the ancient, time-tested methodologies which have, made us what we are today. So when we talk about Bharati Gyan Parampara, we cannot begin without, remembering, like they say, Guru, Govind, and Granth. These are the 3Gs, 3G of Bharati Gyan Parampara. So with our humble, pranam to the Govinda Tattva, the Granth Tattva, and the Guru Tattva in and around us, we make our auspicious beginning, Shubharam. And talking about the Addwit, it is more than knowledge. It is knowledge plus application of it. Wit, or the connecting the dots, or reading between the lines, and adding that value which otherwise, the bookish knowledge misses upon. So what I have done is I have, to give you an introduction about Addwit a little more. Our beginning was something very humble, very, very humble. It started with a simple question, which is highlighted on your screen. Why do smart people, intelligent people, educated people, professionals, people with experience, people with, on the surface who look very sophisticated, why do they get stuck in life? With this one simple question, we started. And you can see that if we can understand the value of this question, यदि इस प्रश्न का महत्व हम समझ सके, तो आज इस पूरे फ्रेमवर्क की, इस पूरे अद्वित इंस्टीट्यूट की जो रेलेवेंस है, वो हमें समझ में आ जाएगी, क्योंकि 99% पीपल आर स्टक एट सम और द अदर लेवल. लोग कहीं ना कहीं अटके हुए हैं, और वो या तो उसके साथ एक कॉम्प्रोमाइज कर लेते हैं, दे लर्न टू लिव विद इट, और दे शाई अवे आस्किंग अबाउट देयर प्रॉब्लम्स विद समबडी, राइट? तो दोनों ही सिचुएशन में वो अटके रह जाते हैं. Either they do not articulate their problem properly, or they shy away asking with somebody, or they learn to live by compromising with it. All the three situations can be improved, and 99% people can benefit from the bouquet of the frameworks and courses that we are going to introduce gradually. The missing layer, we are all professionally educated, सब हम qualified हैं. I mean, all of us are at least graduates and post graduates. But missing element कहाँ पर आती है? ग्रेजुएशन से हमारी करियर तो एक अच्छा टेक ऑफ कर लेता है, with our degrees we are able to start a job. But when it comes to midlife situations, when I say mid-career crisis, midlife crisis, and so on and so forth, you all know about it. उसके लिए जो एजुकेशन सिस्टम है, वो एक डिस्कनेक्ट हो जाता है वहां पर जाके, राइट? एंड आवर सराउंडिंग इज सच, of course I can talk about the kind of surrounding that we are living in today for hours together. There are very organized and semi-organized and unorganized kind of attack, both from outside and from within, and from within, and ultimately it disturbs the quality of life. I mean, quality of life को कुछ यदि लिमिटेड उसका असेसमेंट करेंगे तो फाइनेंशियल से होता है, बट देन quality of life is much more. Those of us who are mature, they understand that we actually don't need only finances. We need a good balance between finances and the rest of the factors. Significance, family, purposefulness, feeling that life is in control. ये सब अपने आप में ऐसे फैक्टर्स हैं जिसके बेसिस पे ही हम एक क्लैरिटी फील करते हैं, कॉन्फिडेंस फील करते हैं कि यस, where direction is in my control, quality of life is in my control. And honestly speaking, cordially speaking, most of us are missing upon it. I've said both things, honestly speaking with yourself, and if you are talking to somebody, then cordially speaking, I mean with trust and with confidence. यदि हम एक दूसरे के साथ बात करना आरंभ करेंगे तो पता चलेगा कि हमारी लाइफ में ऐसा कोई ना कोई चैप्टर है जिसको हम इंप्रूव करना चाहते हैं, पर अभी तक हमने उस बारे में या तो किसी से बात नहीं की, या तो किसी से बात करने का कॉन्फिडेंस नहीं रहा. और यहाँ पर जो मैंने कल छोटा सा वीडियो शेयर किया था कि 6 टर्निंग पॉइंट्स जो होते हैं लाइफ के, हमारे लाइफ में कहीं ना कहीं एक किसी ना किसी टर्निंग पॉइंट पे एक या तो एम्प्टीनेस आ जाती है या तो कंफ्यूजन आ जाता है. यदि यंग हैं तो कंफ्यूजन आएगा, और यदि लाइफ में थोड़ा एडवांस स्टेज में पहुंच चुके हैं, करियर के एडवांस स्टेज में, करियर फिनिश करने के बाद एक एम्प्टीनेस आ जाती है. क्योंकि यदि 6th लाइफ पोजीशन जो है, जिसको हम सिग्निफिकेंस या पर्पसफुलनेस कहते हैं, राइट? पॉइंट इज दैट आवर सराउंडिंग इज सच दैट वी need to be honest with ourselves, and we need to be honest with our assessment about what we want out of life, and that calls for what is our role. What is our role? ठीक है, हमारी लाइफ जैसी निकली वैसी निकली. I mean, the way we were educated, or the kind of surrounding and the kind of family and parenting that we got, we lived our life. But what is that we are going to impart to the next generation? What is that we are going to impart to the next generation? Because जैसे बोलते हैं कि आज जनरेशन गैप यदि पहले 20 साल में हुआ करता था, तो ये जो 20 साल का जनरेशन गैप वाला जो पीरियड है, अब रिड्यूस होते होते 20 से 10 साल, 10 साल से 5 साल, और अब मेरे ख्याल से हर तीसरे साल में जनरेशन गैप हो जाता है. आई मीन, यू इफ यू फाइंड अ पर्सन ऑफ 23 years and the person of 20 years of age, the two of them will think slightly differently. Earlier it used to happen कि एक 20 साल का और एक 40 साल का व्यक्ति एक दूसरे से डिस्कनेक्ट होते थे, पर आज 20 साल का और 25 साल का व्यक्ति जो है, या 27 साल का और 32 साल का व्यक्ति एक दूसरे से डिस्कनेक्ट हो जाते हैं. सो आई मीन, वी आर losing the connection with next generation very quickly. That is alarming. जैसे अभी दीप्ति जी ने कहा कि भारतीय नॉलेज, भारतीय जो ज्ञान पद्धति है वो ऑल परवेडिंग है. सिंस जनरेशंस एंड जनरेशंस, आई मीन मिलेनियम ऑफ ईयर, वी हैव बीन पासिंग ऑन अ काइंड ऑफ विट एंड क्लैरिटी एंड विजडम एंड शार्पनेस टू द नेक्स्ट जनरेशन. वो कुछ तो एक डिफरेंट सिस्टम रहा होगा, और वो इसलिए पॉसिबल हो पाता था क्योंकि पिछली जनरेशन से अगली जनरेशन कनेक्टेड और सबमिसिव और एक लर्निंग मोड में कम्युनिकेशन होता था. दैट इज मिसिंग टुडे. दैट इज मिसिंग टुडे. I mean, most of the parents, I mean, we should be honest, most of the parents are unable to connect to the children to the last mile. If I want to teach 100 things to my child, I will be able to teach only 15, 20, 30, 35 things, not more than that. Right? So, the kind of disconnect which I have with the next generation, that should alarm us. And for that, we need to learn certain things so that we are able to continue. और यहाँ पर एक बहुत ही इंटरेस्टिंग सा एक बहुत ही इंटरेस्टिंग पॉइंट आचार्य मेहुल ऑफ राजकोट, in one of his talks on YouTube, he says that यदि आप एक डॉक्टर हैं और आपको दूसरा डॉक्टर क्रिएट करना है तो पहले आपको एक टीचर बनना पड़ेगा. यदि आप एक अच्छे किसान हैं और दूसरा किसान आपको प्रोड्यूस करना है तो आपको एक अच्छा टीचर बनना पड़ेगा. यदि आप एक इंजीनियर हैं, यदि आप एक मैनेजर हैं, यदि आप एक पेरेंट हैं, तो दूसरा इंजीनियर, दूसरा मैनेजर, दूसरा पेरेंट क्रिएट करने के लिए आपको एक टीचर बनना पड़ेगा. सो देयर इज समथिंग ब्यूटीफुल विथ टीचिंग. It helps us to create our second line of command, second line of leadership. So that is what is our role in a way, right? That is possible only by getting into a very systematic learning curve altogether once again, right? तो एक अपनी जो maturity है उसको, या अपना जो एक accumulated wisdom है अभी तक का, उसको एक साइड में रख के एक बार वापस लर्निंग कर्व में यदि हम आ सके, दैट इज अवर रोल. दैट इज अवर रोल. पोजिशन्ड यूनिकली, अद्वित की जो पोजिशनिंग है वो भी अपने आप में बहुत ही यूनिक है. वी हैव developed a number of frameworks. Yesterday I was talking to all of you through a small video about 6 critical life positions. That's a very, very important framework. Framework क्या होता है? I gave a clue in the video towards end. जैसे बड़ा बिल्डिंग बनाने के पहले बीम और कॉलम का एक स्ट्रक्चर क्रिएट करते हैं. सो फ्रेमवर्क इज लाइक कि यदि कोई प्रॉब्लम का रूट कॉज आइडेंटिफाई करना है तब तो डायग्नोसिस चाहिए. यदि किसी प्रॉब्लम का रूट कॉज आइडेंटिफाई करना है, हम डॉक्टर के पास जाते हैं तो वो डायग्नोसिस कराते हैं. ब्लड टेस्ट के लिए बोलते हैं, यूरिन टेस्ट के लिए बोलते हैं, स्टूल टेस्ट के लिए बोलते हैं, सो ऑन सो फोर्थ. सो डायग्नोसिस इज फॉर आइडेंटिफाइंग द प्रॉब्लम. बट एक बार प्रॉब्लम आइडेंटिफाई होने के बाद जब सोल्यूशन यदि रिकमेंड करना है, then we need framework, right? So what is diagnosis to identifying problem? Framework is to recommend the solution. So we have developed quality of life के लिए 6 critical life position framework है. एम्प्लॉयबिलिटी जो कि एक बहुत बड़ी प्रॉब्लम है, जिसके ऊपर मैंने 2013-14 के आसपास रिसर्च करके पीएचडी किया हुआ है. एम्प्लॉयबिलिटी की जो प्रॉब्लम है, करियर मैनेजमेंट और एम्प्लॉयबिलिटी की जो प्रॉब्लम है, स्पेशली एजुकेटेड यूथ के साथ और मिड करियर मैनेजमेंट के लिए, उसके लिए 4Q फ्रेमवर्क है. और इसी प्रकार से एथिकल प्रॉस्पेरिटी के लिए हमारे पास एक फ्रेमवर्क है. पॉलिसी मेकिंग के लिए IGP फ्रेमवर्क है. I stands for infrastructure, G stands for governance and P stands for people, right? आप एक शहर को डेवलप करना चाहते हो, वहां पर आप बहुत बढ़िया रोड्स बना दो, ब्रिज बना दो, उसको पूरा वाईफाई एनेबल्ड कर दो, बट दैट्स इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर पार्ट. अब डिजिटलाइजेशन कर दो, गवर्नेंस वाला पार्ट हुआ, राइट? बट देन अनलेस यू डेवलप पीपल, द सिटी विल बी येट अनदर geographical location, that's all, right? It is the people who make a city's culture. वाराणसी क्यों है और बड़ोदरा क्यों है, right? When you go from Bombay to Bhopal, you get a different feeling altogether, right? So every city has its own culture, and that culture comes ultimately from the way people live, and the way people relate with each other, the kind of narrative which circulates in this. So people development is very important factor, which that even policymakers and educational planners have not been able to understand properly. पीपल डेवलपमेंट जितने अच्छी प्रकार से भारतीय ज्ञान पद्धति में समझा गया है, आई डाउट the Western science have reached even 1% of it. The Western psychology is tip of the iceberg. I mean, the kind of psychology, if you just read Gita, it's full of psychology, right? Of course, I don't want to get into the details, but the point there is that there is a lot of psychology if you go to the granthas, and that gives you a very good control on yourself and your understanding of others, and then you can calibrate how do you relate with people. It's very, very interesting and very fascinating. Yadi aapko people skills padhna hai, then granthas are the only place, right? But then I know not everybody relates with it. aaj ke youngsters ko yadi aap bolo, who is a typical 27-year 30-year 35-year-old, he's too busy. He's too busy in job, usko paas koi time nahi hai, and all that he wants to read is maybe some modern fiction written by some author who sits in London, who would have read his some scriptures only to rewrite a series of novels so that he can become a bestseller. So वो एक अलग ही सेगमेंट है सोसाइटी में जो एक तरह से डिस्कनेक्टेड है, but then I hope that we get into the path of recovery through our intervention through Addwit Institute some way. Talking about Addwit courses, we are launching 3 courses today, which we'll talk about in a moment. And I will take 1 minute to talk about pedagogies. Pedagogies are, content, pedagogy और objective. Education का यदि कोई assessment करना चाहे तो इन 3 parameters पे करना चाहिए. क्या सिखाया जा रहा है, कैसे सिखाया जा रहा है, और सिखाने के पीछे उद्देश्य क्या है. जो वेस्टर्न मेथोडोलॉजी है, जिसको अभी दीप्ति जी पिछले 300-400 वर्ष का डिफॉर्मेशन बता रही थी, वेस्टर्न जो एजुकेशन सिस्टम है, वो एजुकेशन सिस्टम क्यों मतलब क्रिएट किया गया? टू डिस्कनेक्ट पीपल फ्रॉम देयर फार्म एंड क्राफ्ट व्हिच वाज देयर आजीविका, एंड टू ब्रिंग देम टू वर्क इन फैक्ट्रीज, राइट? तो वर्कर बनाने के लिए सिस्टम क्रिएट किया गया. हाउ डू दे टीच? They teach by putting people also in assembly lines, right? Assembly line मतलब कि एक साथ सारे 10 साल के बच्चों को एक साथ बिठा दो, सबको एक ही क्यूरिकुलम पढ़ा दो, सबको एक ही तरह का टेस्ट ले लो, और जो ज्यादा नंबर लेके आए उसको ज्यादा अच्छे मार्क्स दे दो. So this is how part of it. And what do they teach? All of us know about it, right? I mean, they teach distorted history. They teach everything to disconnect you from your roots, right? I mean, we learn about Mughal history and Newton and Einstein more than those dozens of rishis. I mean, Charak and Parashar and so many rishis who were basically scientists. We learn everything about what we were not. So 2 things which differentiate us, or which make us distinct. I mean, that one is slow-paced discussions. Like like in yesterday's video, I talked about 6 critical life positions, but I did not give the names of those 6 critical life positions. I invited you to get into reflective thinking, right? I invited you to reflective thinking, and this is a methodology which involves peer factor. Peer factor. Peer factor means friendship factor. So today's normal people are wise enough. It's just that their narratives, their conversations need a direction, right? And once there is a structured and semi-structured direction to the conversation which is happening among people, then there is a lot which can be achieved. So this is what we have very carefully integrated into our pedagogies. It's going to be very, very different experience when we go through the Addwit methodology, Addwit courses, and that's how. So that's how I think I will skip the roadmap part, because it's going to be a different thing altogether. I will only talk about like I was saying, Addwit has been drawn from Advitiya, which means that duplication is not going to be easy. What we are doing is, I mean, it's not happening because, of Arvind Agrawal or Madhu Agrawal or Anup Agrawal or anybody else. It's happening through a big plan, basically. It's happening through a big plan. And in course of last 10 years, we have moved from publication model to online course model to think tank model to consulting model, and I mean, a mixture of all these. And now we are moving to the institute model. Basically, institute model is something which has a layer of instruction, book and instruction. Like you have school. School has book as well as teacher. So what we noticed in the feedback that we got from our avid readers is that your books are absolutely fantastic, but what we need is some kind of handholding. So that is how the instruction model has come. And 3 courses that we are announcing are based on these 3 resources which we have created: Addwit Vyavasaya Upanishad, Addwit Money Matters, which is a video magazine, and the formidable book, which is coming up very soon. Next week it is going to print. And Dipti Hasabeji is co-author with me for this particular book. So having said this, I guess I will, guide you to the website, which is adwit.org, which all of us know already. And I'll take another 10 minutes to talk about 3 courses, and then we will bring the forum open for Q&A. Formidable is a course. There is, these 3 courses, if you look at these 3 courses, जो ऊपर के 2 कोर्सेज हैं, अद्वित व्यवसाय उपनिषद पर आधारित कोर्स और अद्वित मनी मैटर्स पर आधारित कोर्स, these 2 courses are designed to help us take care of our prosperity. These 2 courses, the number 1 and number 3, are designed to take care of to help us take care of our prosperity. Of course ये 2 नहीं है, इसके अलावा और भी, मतलब ethical prosperity में कुछ और भी courses और resources हैं. So ethical prosperity, family's prosperity, individual prosperity. The 3rd course, the one below in number 16th, formidable, mind that matters, that will help us to kind of safeguard our mana. I've used the word mana only. I'm not calling it mind, because mind is slightly shallow in its meaning or its connotation. So I prefer to call it mana. Hindi से English में translate करने में from meaning loss हो जाता है, loss of meaning हो जाता है. So I sometimes prefer to use Hindi words only. So announcing these 3 courses, first one we will talk about that the 3rd course there. Formidable is a course which I'll share this notes. Don't worry about it. As a thanks for attending this meeting, I'll be sharing a free file with you. I'll share the notes with you. So don't worry about taking screenshots and taking details. Formidable course जो है ना, this is basically a course designed to take care of our mind. When it comes to mind, most of us know about meditation. और meditation में भी वो 1-2 meditation जो ईशा फाउंडेशन या आर्ट ऑफ लिविंग फाउंडेशन टाइप के ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस जो आजकल कमर्शियलाइज तरीके से जिसका मास प्रोडक्शन कर रही हैं, we know only about those 2 or 3 courses, especially in corporates. उनकी रीच कॉर्पोरेट में बहुत डीप तक है. So I mean, they're doing good job, no doubt about it. I mean, I'm not criticizing them. What I am pointing out is that one kind of dhyan cannot take care of the entire gaps and repairs that our mind, our personality, our traits, our prarabdha, our karmically created circumstances that we are going through, the intentions that we live life with, इन सब में यदि कुछ रिपेयरिंग करनी है तो सिर्फ एक ध्यान से नहीं होगा. So formidable, this particular book will have 40 plus 7 or maybe almost 10 more dhyana techniques. So almost 50 more dhyana techniques, and this is a methodology which is based on the principles of karma, principle of interlife, that is the multiple rebirths, principle of prarabdha, free will, and so on and so forth. So in every situation that we are living in today, whatever plus and minus we have in our personality and in our approach to life, whatever correction is required, 85 to 90% solutions you will find in this 240 plus page A4 size book. So it's going to be a very comprehensive book. Chapter 1, 2, 3, 4, these 4 chapters are dedicated to tell everything conceptual we need to understand about the deep psychology which the Western approach to psychology cannot explain. So drawing from insights as well as validating it against the wisdom which is available in Grantha, and articulating it the way youngsters and the people who are not connected to the dharmic framework should understand, with a lot of illustration, with with easy English writing, using the appropriate Hindi words. I am not compromised for meditation when I want to say dhyana, right? Because meditation ka ek connotation hai, but dhyana has 5 connotations, right? So with a good balance between understanding of the end user and not compromising with the body of knowledge that we are founding our frameworks upon, we have created this book. And because this book is based upon the principles of birth and rebirth and karmic implications of whatever we are and whatever we think or do or speak or say, what we have done is we have not left the 2 extremes of life, the birth and the departure, right? So because birth is a very, very, very special kind of process and experience, both for the child and for the parents, especially for mother also. So Deepti ji has been very kind to contribute dedicated chapters for the golden period. Golden period is period before conceiving, during the pregnancy, and post the childbirth. And there is a very subtle spiritual divine processes which we must understand, and we must create right kind of environment, right kind of connectedness, both with the macrocosm, as Deepti ji has pointed out, and with the little soul which is now descending down to this material realm. So we have not left that out also. So there are 2 dedicated chapters with 7 dhyanas and maybe a few other techniques about the pregnancy. And of course, in the chapter 5, there are 40 dhyanas. And among 40 dhyanas, there are 3 or 4 dhyanas which help us to take care of our departure also in the most dharmic and karmically helpful manner. I would invite Deepti ji to say a few words about her experience with this project. Deepti ji, please.
Yes. So let me take a minute or so, not more than that. So I think this project started with Arvindji inviting me to contribute in some way to the book. And after multiple discussions, we realized there are a lot of confluences, energy confluences that come together between both of us. Our understanding of how the book should be was very similar, which made the process really easy for me. And I got to learn a lot through the process too. I am so much of a textbook writer. With Arvindji, what I understood is a more practical way of understanding for the person on the other end, right? The readers, or in this case, the people who are going to take up these courses. So that is something that was a great learning for me through this little adventure that we started on, And coming to Golden Period, yes, I have been a Golden Period educator. I have worked with pregnant parents, and it's been a passion to me. It's like when we are building a house, the first thing we need is a property, a land. And what kind of house will be built will be dependent on what kind of land we have purchased, in what area we have purchased, and what is the purpose of it. Post that, we'll be creating a plan, the elevation, the plan, and what all can we incorporate in this little house of mine is what we do. After that comes the foundation stage, where the foundation decides how powerful, how strong my structure is going to be, how high I can go. And post that, only the construction starts. Similarly, in a human being's life too, the real estate matters. Real estate as in the environment in the house, the environment of the parents' minds, both mother and father, what kind of health they are having, physical, emotional, and mental, spiritual health too. That kind of child will be attracted to that family. And hence the chapter 5, as Arvindji was mentioning, all those dhyanas are important to prepare the mind. And post that, the pregnancy stage is like the stage where we are planning something for our house. The elevation is prepared that time. Pregnancy is a time where the child plans its entire life. And that is the time where we can give any kind of inputs that we would like to have. Right? So it's very important. Without a plan, our life is going to be a mess. Let's say we have not created a provision to create a bathroom in our house. Then how are we going to incorporate that in the future? Yes, possibility is there. We break, we do some damage control and then put it together. But how easy it would have been if it was already incorporated in the plan. So that is the plan that golden period gives us an opportunity for. And post that, in the toddlerhood, it is like the foundation. Until and unless the foundation is strong, where this person can reach is not guaranteed, right? So it can be very weak or it can be very strong. It depends on the parents, always the parents. In fact, 90% of what the child can do, what the child can achieve, is dependent on the parents and not any other external force. So that is the phase which is most important in a person's life, and hence it's called golden period. In our culture, gold is most valuable compared to a diamond or silver or anything else. Gold is what is given a lot more value, a lot more divinity to, right? It's associated with Mother Lakshmi. And that's why it's called the golden period. It's 1100 days, 3 months before pregnancy, approximately 9 months, 9+ months of pregnancy, and around 2 years post that. Put together come to around 1000 days. And these are considered, and not just in India, it is all over the world. Now the world is recognizing this. There are Western psychologists who work on prenatal psychology, and it has been part of our culture. It's very well put together in the book. We have known this truth for many, many generations. Ravana, I think, is the first documented person who did a lot of planning for his son Indrajit. And there were karmas associated with his son. Otherwise, Indrajit was the most powerful being, was one of the most brilliant minds that ever took birth on this planet, right? So, yeah, I leave it there. And let's learn from Ravana to, Ravana, a great Brahmin.
Yeah, I mean, everybody has one aspect of greatness, so good. With your permission, moving to the next course.
Sure.
Yeah, thank you. The next course is called Addwit Money Matters. Oh yes, it does matter, and in the Kali Yuga, if we talk about ignoring money, then we are of course committing a mistake. But it's not only in Kali Yuga. If you look at the quad that the Bharatiya Gyan Parampara recommends, is dharma, artha, kama, moksha. So it's a good balance that we need to live with. So money is important. But if we affix importance only to money, then something goes wrong. And the shift in one of the illustrations which I have come up in this particular formidable book itself, most of us are living life anchored around earth and kam. Kam is basically bhog. Eating and enjoying and relaxing, and so earth and kam is center of our life, and dharma and moksha we don't even think about. ठीक है, मत सोचिए अर्थ धर्म और काम के बारे में, धर्म और मोक्ष के बारे में, but there can be an intermittent what you can call milestone, and that is called naitikta, right? So even if we start orienting our life towards ethical conduct with regards to earning and spending money, right? Let me repeat this. Instead of focusing only on earning money and enjoying it, if we start focusing the ethical aspect of earning money and spending money, then perhaps half of the corrective actions will start happening. But then it is easier said than done, and that is why we have created a 1-year course on habits for financial happiness. And like I said, it is a slow-paced, discussion-based course. Every week there will be 2 recorded videos and 1 live video, so that we can उस वीडियो में जो बात कही गई है, उस सेशन में जो बात कही गई है, उसको एग्जीक्यूट कैसे करना है, उसको अपनी लाइफ में इंप्लीमेंट कैसे करना है, उस बारे में भी हम बातचीत कर सकें. एंड माइंड यू, दिस इज सीरीज 1 which will help us, most of the common people, we are all at various levels of the middle class. We can be middle class, higher middle class, very high middle class, maybe very, very, very high middle class, maybe with net worth of up to maybe 500 or 1000 crores. I mean, we should always remember कि यदि हमारी net worth X है, तो 100X वाले भी हमेशा कहीं ना कहीं हैं. Right? So there is always somebody much more smarter than us, much more wealthier than us. So series 1 is going to help us in rectifying our erroneous financial thoughts, erroneous financial habits, and erroneous way that we approach to the money itself, right? And that is why, people who are rich, even they experience or face kind of emptiness at some point of time. There is a reason for it. We'll discuss that. Addwit Money Matters will help everybody, people who are otherwise customers. This next course is typically created for business owners, family business owners, small business owners, entrepreneurs, startup founders, and for that matter, every family, right? Because entrepreneurship is at the bottom line creating value. So all of us are entrepreneur in some or the other way. I mean, even if we are in corporate job, we are creating value for somebody else, right? तो फैमिली के अंदर बैलेंस कैसे बना के रखना है, फैमिली के अंदर एक लार्जर गोल्स के लिए ओरिएंटेशन कैसे बना के रखना है, all that has also been discussed. Though this book has been written for business families, but because in business families, family is a very, very important factor. देखिए, जब मैं कॉर्पोरेट जॉब में हूँ, so I get out of home, go to office, work and come back. Every month end, my salary comes. But that doesn't work so straightforward for a small business owner, right? Small business owners today are a complete loss of what we can call direction, right? जो typical Shark Tank mentality है, big capital and big business gulping the small capital and the small businesses. ये एक बहुत ही नॉर्मल चीज हो गई आजकल, जिसको नॉर्मलाइज कर दिया गया है. But it is very harmful for Atmanirbharta sector, and for that matter, Atmanirbharta of the family also. So if you want to ensure Atmanirbharta of the family becoming, financially Atmanirbhar as soon as possible, right? So that there is no, जिसको बोलते हैं कि insecurity की तलवार हमेशा ना लटकी रहे. If you want to, recalibrate our family and business on those lines, then, and Naitik is, a treasure trove of the insights from the healthy, effective, useful business practices of Vaishya Samaj, if I can say so. The Vaishya Varna, typically traders and the value creators. So people who know how to take sand and create money out of it, right? I mean, there is an art, 2 pieces of plastic can become a nice product. So, what is a chip for that? It's basically a crystal of silicon, which has been put through some kind of homogenization process and charged with a small program. So even sand can be converted to a $1 million product, right? So point is that it takes a different level of creativity and connecting the dots and the ability to scale up, and at the same time, the one beautiful sentence is being self-oriented but not selfish. Being selfish but not greedy. Being oriented to benefit of self but not being greedy at the same time. That's a very fine balance. That is what we can learn through the course. Course meta, I think I'll include in the file. You can go through it, and I guess I will explain how the course is open. And of course, I can see a small gatherings. There is not much to explain. There is a very formalized application process, prospectus, and selection process, and there is a methodology the way it will be executed. But I think I will request that we open mic for everybody, so that one by one, by raising hand, we can I can take questions and reactions, please, and respond to it if required, or Dipti ji if required.
ये एक ऐसा कंपोनेंट है हमारी लाइफ का, हमारे वर्ल्ड का, हमारी कम्युनिटी का, कल्चर का, और उसका एक हिस्सा ये है कि हमारे ग्रोथ का, हमारी प्रॉस्पेरिटी का, जिसको कोई टच नहीं करता। और ये मतलब जैसे कई बार होता ना कि बाथरूम में काई रच गई, या दीवार में, या कबर्ड को दीमक खा गया, है ना, या किचन में कॉकरोच फैल गया, है ना, या तो ये हमको इसी तरीके से हार्म पहुंचा रहा है। और जैसे शुरू में कहा गया ना कि या तो हम लिहाज कर रहे हैं, या तो हम उसको एडजस्ट कर रहे हैं, या कॉम्प्रोमाइज कर रहे हैं, सेक्रीफाइस कर रहे हैं, और यही चल रहा है। तो इसके लिए अद्वित के इस इनिशिएटिव को बहुत सारी बधाइयाँ, बहुत सारा शुभकामनाएं, और बहुत ही ज्यादा एप्रिसिएशन कि आप ये कर पा रहे हैं, क्योंकि सोशल फैब्रिक या है नहीं इस तरीके का कि इसको कोई करे। क्योंकि जो शब्द इस्तेमाल किया गया, कॉलोनाइजेशन, कैपिटलाइजेशन, ये सब कुछ एकदम वैलिड बात है कि हम इसी के, जैसे बड़ी मछली छोटी मछली को खा रही है, तो मछली के लिए ये एक्सेप्टेबल है कि भाई उसको तो यही करना है। पर हम ह्यूमन बीइंग हार्मोनी में ना रह सके, ग्रो ना कर सके, है ना, तो कंट्रीब्यूट ना कर सके, एक्सेप्टेंस हमारा ना हो, तो ये एक्सेप्टेबल बात नहीं है, ये डाइजेस्ट करने वाली बात नहीं है। बट हम डाइजेस्ट कर रहे हैं। तो बिग हैंड्स अप कि आप अपना इतना अच्छा इनिशिएटिव ले रहे हैं, और आज हमको इसमें इन्वॉल्व भी होने का मौका मिल रहा है। दिस इज फ्रॉम माय साइड।
In case Dipti ji is pressed with time, I think I'll invite Dipti ji, then followed by Sanjay ji. Please, Dipti ji, in case you are time pressed, I'll invite you.
I don't have anything to add here as such. I think Anupji did cover a lot of points, and thank you for the wishes. And I hope it becomes a course, or these set of courses become very popular, is what I believe will help the society at large. And I really wish many, many people take it up with whatever capacity they can. It's ultimately practice. How much ever we read, how much ever we study, it's not going to make an impact. Knowledge as such is only potential. If we have to make it work, then we have to do practices. And that is something that this is an attempt of, and I hope it becomes a grand success. That's what I wish.
Ji, ji. Thank you. I'll invite Sanjay ji.
अरविंद जी, मेरी तरफ से बहुत बहुत शुभकामनाएं आपको और दीप्ति जी को। आपका जो ये प्रयास है, आपका जो उद्देश्य है, उसमें आप खूब सफल हो गए, सुफल हो गए, मैं यही कामना करता हूँ। आपने जिस तरीके से जो लर्निंग एंड डेवलपमेंट है, जिस तरीके से आपने नए तरीके से देखने की कोशिश की है, आपने जिस तरीके से जो भारतीय ज्ञान है, प्राचीन ज्ञान है, उसको, उसके माध्यम से आप जिस तरीके से चाह रहे हैं कि लोगों का ग्रोथ हो, लोगों को सफलता मिले, एक संतुलित उन्नति हो समाज की और इंडिविजुअल की, वो प्रयास बहुत ही प्रशंसनीय है। ओके, और मैं आपको बहुत बहुत दोनों को शुभकामना देता हूँ उसके लिए।
नमस्ते। धनंजय जी, प्लीज। धनंजय जी।
हाँ, नमस्ते अरविंद जी।
जी नमस्ते।
तो नमस्ते। मैं तो बस सुनने के लिए आया था आज, और बाकी इस विषय में मैं अभी नौसिखिया हूँ, तो ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा मैंने आज सुना, कुछ नया सीखने को मिला। और बाकी बस एक चीज़ मैं चाहता था कि अगले कभी सेशन हो इस प्रकार का, तो उसमें हमारी प्राचीन वर्ण व्यवस्था में जो वैश्य समुदाय का दायित्व था, उसकी जो जिम्मेदारियां थी, और जो कार्यभार था पूरे समाज की संरचना को बनाए रखने की, और आज जो वेस्टर्न आइडियाज हैं बिजनेस की, व्यापार की, उद्योग की, उन दोनों के बीच में क्या अंतर आया और इसको हम किस प्रकार से तुलनात्मक अध्ययन कर सकते हैं, इस पर कभी चर्चा हो तो मैं चाहता हूँ कि इसको कभी करें।
जी जी, डेफिनेटली डेफिनेटली,
जी।
नोटेड।
हम्म।
ज्योति जी के रिएक्शंस एंड क्वेश्चंस प्लीज।
जी, थैंक यू सो मच सर। और आपका तो जो भी प्रयास रहता है अद्वित में, मैंने और भी सेशंस अटेंड किए हैं, इतना हार्ड एफर्ट करते हैं और इतना कंसर्न हो करके प्रयास करते हैं, तो बहुत ही अच्छा लगता है उस चीज़ का हिस्सा बन के हमेशा, कि एक सुंदर चीज़ भी हो रही है जहाँ पर लोगों की रियल प्रॉस्पेरिटी, रियल हैप्पीनेस के बारे में काम किया जा रहा है। तो मैं बहुत ही प्रिविलेज महसूस करती हूँ इस चीज़ का हिस्सा बन के। और आपको बहुत सारी शुभकामनाएं आने वाले समय के लिए, प्रॉस्परस हो और सचमुच में हैप्पी लाइफ हो सके सभी की। थैंक यू सो मच।
Thank you. With that, we have come to close of this session, and we take permission from Anup ji, the senior most here, to wind up the session. Anup ji, आपकी permission आज का session close करने के लिए।
जी अरविंद जी, थैंक यू।
Thank you. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you. Good day.
Thank you.
थैंक यू सो मच।